and feasibility determination. These are his 4 critical elements of the innovation process. But underlying everything, the most important part, makes innovation happen, is organizational support for the innovation. The innovation cannot happen without it. Now, everybody's favorite innovator is the Wright brothers. They love the Wright brothers. At the time the Wright brothers were working on their airplane, everybody was trying to develop an airplane. There were scientists in Germany and Italy and England and France, all trying to create the first airplane. But Orville and Wilbur did it first. They did it first. Now we know of Orville, we know of Wilbur. How many people here are from the School of Aviation? Anybody here? Okay, what's the name of the 3rd Wright brother? What's the name of the 3rd Wright brother? We got Orville, Wilbur, and I'll give you a hint. 3rd Wright brother was a test pilot. This test pilot demonstrated the Wright Flyer in France, demonstrating to the world that theirs was the safest airplane. This was the test pilot. This was their technical advisor and their financier. What was the name of the 3rd Wright brother? Her name was Catherine Wright. She worked with the Wright brothers for years. She didn't get married till she was in her 50s. And she piloted the plane. She was their technical advisor. And the Wright brothers, from what I understand, were not real fun to be around. And she was charming and wonderful. She facilitated things. And the French referred to her constantly in print and everywhere as the 3rd Wright brother. And we talked about the importance of the organizational support for innovation. Innovation cannot happen without it. And that's Catherine Wright. Here she is, buried. There's Orville. There's Orville, Wilbur, and Catherine. Okay. So encapsulating the innovation process is not just the genesis of a good idea, but shepherding the idea from concept to implementation. There's 6 stages in the innovation process: need, preparation, incubation, insight, verification, and adoption. First one is need. Identify a need. What's a problem, a need, an opportunity? Understand what that is. Then prepare. Now it's interesting, innovators, we'll get into the characteristics of innovators, literally pack their brain with all kinds of information. Any kind of information, not necessarily having to do with the problem, but any kind of information. And one of my favorite stories is Joseph Lister. We all know about Joseph Lister. At the time of when Joseph Lister was a doctor, 50% of all operations resulted in death. You had a 50-50 chance of surviving. And they believed that sepsis or decay or gangrene was caused by exposure to oxygen, and they were looking for an antisepsis. So anyway, he started doing all kinds of homework and realized that Louis Pasteur said that living organisms cause decay, and he was also filled his brain about sewage in Calcutta. Sewage in Calcutta. What has that got to do with operations? Sewage in Calcutta. And what he realized was these farmers in India, there was a parasite that would attack the cattle. So they covered the fields with carbolic acid, got rid of the parasites, and their cattle lived. So he said, gee whiz, maybe if I washed my surgical instruments in carbolic acid, I won't get this, this infection. My people will live. So he did it, and you know what? People lived. Now, did people in England believe him? No. No. So then we have the Franco-Prussian War. Thousands of young men are dying left, right, and center. Anybody going in an operation, 50% of them are dead. But the Germans, the Germans said, hey, we got this article. Let's wash our surgical instruments in carbolic acid and see what happens. They lived. Does everybody in England believe now Lister? No. 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 Nothing like overwhelming evidence. So anyway, it was finally a knee operation. The fatality on knee operations was 100%. There's no way you're going to survive a knee operation. But this one guy went into surgery with Lister, who washed his instruments in carbolic acid. He lived, and now Joseph Lister was finally accepted by the medical community. All right, so we stuff our brains with knowledge. The next thing is my favorite part of innovation. You don't do anything. Nothing. Basically, you've packed your brain, you identified a problem, you packed your brain, you said, okay, I need to solve this, and then you park it in your subconscious mind, and you let it incubate. Then you get your eureka moment. Your eureka moment, yes, I've got it, it's solved. Then you verify it. You've got to test it. Does it work? And then you take it into the public domain. You know what? I'm just going to skip that one. All right. How do you hunt down innovators? What do they look like? Can you look around the room and figure out what they look like? Well, you identify innovators by their behavior. They're less interested with doing things better than doing things differently. And if you look at the traits of innovators, they have a high tolerance for ambiguity. They're independent as wet cats. They're not inhibited by conformity. Excellent communication skills, a lot of imagination, and this is the bummer part, they have a reasonable but not outstanding level of intelligence. They enjoy art. They enjoy art. And if you look around your facility here, you can see that that's appreciated here with innovators with the spectacular art that's in your beautiful facility. They have a high appreciation for themselves, they're independent, and they've got a wide range of interests. But the characteristic that stands out most is perseverance and tenacity. Perseverance and tenacity. Now, we're going to get into a little psychology. And how many mammals do we have in the audience today? Okay. There are two forces that work within us. One of them is neophobic behavior. It's a fear of anything new. And that keeps us alive. Hi, let's jump off a cliff. I don't think so because I have neophobic behavior. I'm not going to do that. And we have neophilic behavior. We have a love of something new. And what's interesting, of all the great apes, there's only one great ape, Homo sapiens sapiens, that exhibits play behavior their entire life. And that's us. That's what we do. And play behavior is really outstanding because it exercises your curiosity, enhances your learning, it gets you emotionally involved, it develops teamwork, and it augments didactic learning with experiential learning and reduces stress. And as long as it doesn't degenerate into dominance behavior, it really enhances learning. Now, ladies, I always bring this up because I always get questions. How come there are no female Da Vincis? Why are there no female Michelangelos? We always get challenged with that. And it's interesting, they did a study, and what they discovered was ladies are typically given a choice in life. Are you going to take care of your family or take care of your science? Guess who wins? The family. So anybody gives you a hard time, you just give them my phone number, and I'll tell them. But it's interesting, the importance of being a champion is very, very important. How do you identify who the leader is? If you just go to a crowd of people and you observe them, how do you tell who the leader is, the perceived leader? It's the one with the loudest voice. The one with the loudest voice. And so guys tend to have a louder voice than ladies. How many times, ladies, have you been overtalked? Yep. So I'm going to challenge the guys here. The ladies need a champion. The ladies need a champion. So if a lady's trying to say something and she's getting overtalked, we need a loud, obnoxious alpha male to stand in and say, time out, I want to hear what she says. Sometimes that's hard to do, but I'm going to challenge the guys to please, please do that because we need it. Now, you can't talk about innovation without talking about resistance because typically you're integrating ideas. If you come up with a brand new idea, all your I's aren't dotted, all your T's aren't crossed, and you're going to run into resistance. So this is the Beckhard and Harris model of resistance, where change happens, your innovation happens, when the level of dissatisfaction with the status quo, the desirability of the proposed change, and the practicality of the change exceeds the cost of changing.